Hello friends, welcome back to our channel IAS Help Desk. Today we are going to discuss one more important topic, and that too from mains perspective, food security in India. This topic is important for GS Paper 3 where you can directly get the topic, and here once again we are starting with this previous year questions. So we have given some previous year question. So वैसे तो बहुत सारे थे, but I chose some of them where first question you can see it is directly mentioned National Food Security Act. In second, it's how it is indirectly related, and third one also. So we'll discuss this at the end of our video. So let's begin with what is food security and what are the different aspects of it. So according to World Food Summit 1996, the definition was given. So the definition of food security is when all people at all times have access to sufficient, safe, nutritious food to maintain a healthy and active life. Also, it involves strengthening the livelihood security of all the members within the household. And how? By ensuring physical and economic access to balanced diet, which also includes essential micronutrients, safe drinking water, clean environment, basic health care, and primary education. So, as we can see, that a much broader aspect is covered under food security and not just ensuring the availability of subsidized food, जो कि बहुत लोगों को ये ऐसा लग सकता है कि फूड सिक्योरिटी का मतलब सिर्फ फूड से ही रिलेटेड अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ फूड एंड एक्सेसिंग फूड, बट यहाँ पर फिजिकल इंश्योरिंग फिजिकल एंड इकोनॉमिक एक्सेस. फिजिकल एक्सेस कहने का मतलब ये है कि ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि यहाँ से हमें 50 किलोमीटर दूर जाना पड़ रहा है उसको एक्सेस करने के लिए. इट शुड बी इकोनॉमिकली एक्सेसिबल, यानी कि हमारे बजट में होना चाहिए, एक पर्टिकुलर रेट पर, सब्सिडाइज रेट पर हो, ताकि वो सबके बजट में हो. Also, it includes environmental sanitation, which might not come into our head most of the times when we are doing prelims questions and objective type of questions. And now we will see that food security is built on three pillars. That is, how do we ensure food security? So it is done on the basis of three core pillars. And those are food availability, food access, and food use. So as we can see, the ultimate objective of food security is to ensure all people at all times have both physical and economic access to the basic food they need. Now let's see what is the current situation of hunger and nutrition in India. So how do we measure hunger? So we can do a comparative study with a better condition or with those countries who are doing good and managing well. So for this, we have Global Hunger Index. And this index, it has 4 parameters or indicators, you can say, on the basis of which it recognizes the country who is doing good or who is not doing good. That is, and those indicators would be undernourishment, child stunting, child wasting, and child mortality. So, अच्छा, चाइल्ड वेस्टिंग का मतलब होता है कि वो बच्चे जो अपनी हाइट के हिसाब से अप्रोप्रिएट वेट में नहीं है. सो एज वी कैन सी, आउट ऑफ 121 कंट्रीज, इंडिया रैंक 107, which is even worse than some of our neighboring countries like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. So here we have given some data. You can see here some important facts which we should actually remember. Also, India has shown improvement in child stunting, which has declined from 38.7% to 35.5%, and improvement in child mortality, which has also dropped from 4.6 to 3.3%. And what is child stunting? So child stunting is basically who is too short for his or her age and is the result of chronic or recurrent malnutrition. So you can say that child stunting is a contributing risk factor to child mortality and is also a maker of inequalities in human development. Now let's see some of the government initiatives to combat food security. So first would be new integrated food security scheme. So by the name it suggests it has been integrated. Antyodaya Ann Yojana and Priority Household scheme. These two have been integrated so that it has the bandwidth of the scheme has increased. Also, it will have better accessibility, affordability, and availability. So here we have discussed the scheme in detail. You can go through the scheme in our PDFs, which will be uploaded on our website. And the scheme, it will provide free food grains and that will concurrently ensure uniform implementation of portability under one nation, one ration card. Acha, I hope everybody knows what is one nation and one ration card, and I'll just give you guys a brief of it. So it is a national ration card that will enable migrant workers and their families to access the PDS, that is Public Distribution System benefits from any fair price shop across the country. So in this, migrant workers are also included, which was not there earlier. पहले क्या होता था कि अगर आपका राशन कार्ड किसी एक पर्टिकुलर जगह का है तो आप बस वहीं से एक्सेस कर सकते हैं, अगर आप किसी दूसरे स्टेट में हैं तो आप वहाँ नहीं एक्सेस कर पाएंगे. Now it is you being a migrant, you can also show your one ration card to any of the state, and you can access the subsidized food. So basically, what will happen is the existing ration card will turn as one nation, one ration card, and it will be a universal ration card allotted to each beneficiary registered under NFSA. So using this, a beneficiary who migrates from one place to another can buy subsidized food grains from the fair price shop located in the destination city and all. The beneficiary will be identified through the biometric authentication or electronic point of sale. So these are the details that you can go and check for this one nation and one ration card characteristics. So now let's move on to National Food Security Act. So what is National Food Security Act? So this act, it provides for the coverage of up to 75% of rural and up to 50% of the urban population for receiving highly subsidized food grains under targeted public distribution system. And the beneficiaries under the National Food Security Act, they fall into two categories. Two categories of first priority households and Antyodaya Ann Yojana households, and each of which is entitled to 35 kg of food grains each month. That is 5 kg per person per month. So wheat costs rupees 2 per kg, rice is rupees 3 per kg, and coarse grains it's rupees 1 per kg. Now, I'll just tell you the significance of this food security in a very brief sentence. Like, as we all know that food security is an utmost importance to a nation. Also, the concerns regarding food security in India, it can be traced back to the experience of Bengal famine in 1943 during British rule. And therefore, we will also have a positive influence on the other aspect determining the growth of a nation. So, the first significance I would like to highlight is food security. It boosts the agriculture sector, and then it also aids the government to regulate food prices. And then there will be a boost in agriculture sector that would result in more job opportunities, as agriculture is a labor intensive sector. So this would enhance economic growth and as a result in the reduction of poverty. Also, there will be access to nutritious food that would enhance the overall health of the public. Also, food security is an important aspect for the global security and stability of the nation. And our next scheme would be midday meal scheme. So we have all heard about midday meal scheme. It is a centrally sponsored scheme and it was launched in 1995. Also, it is the world's largest school meal. I'll tell you one of the objective of midday meal scheme is to address hunger and malnutrition and also ensuring food security. Now there is one Poshan Abhiyan. So this was launched by the government in 2018, And this abhiyan, it targets to reduce stunting, undernutrition, anemia among young children, women and adolescents, girls. Also, it has various other targets. I'll not give you so much of burden of by giving so many facts and figures and details. So also it aims, Poshan Abhiyan aims to ensure service delivery and interventions by use of technology, behavioral change through convergence and laydowns of specific targets to be achieved across different monitoring parameters. And now we have Zero Hunger Program. So this program, it was launched on 16th of October 2017. आप लोग अगर नीचे कमेंट करके बताएं कि 16th of October को हम लोग क्या डे सेलिब्रेट करते हैं. There is a particular day and that might be asked in one of your prelims question also or interview में भी पूछा जा सकता है. So you guys can comment below, the answer of which I'll be telling you at the end of my video. So yeah, the program Zero Hunger program, it aims at making farm interventions and also it incorporates organizing the farming system for nutrition, setting up genetic gardens and initiating zero hunger training. Now let's see what are the challenges of food security. So before seeing what are the challenges, I'll just tell you, so why are these challenges? So first, the reason behind these challenges would be unavailability of food, यानी कि appropriate amount में, सही मात्रा में फूड ग्रेन्स का ना होना, और अगर सही मात्रा में है भी तो लोगों के क्षमता के बाहर होना, यानी कि उनकी कैपेसिटी के बाहर होना ताकि वो उसे अफोर्ड कर पाए. So basically there are two reasons for these challenges. First is unavailability of food and second, poor purchasing capacity. And then we have a challenge of food safety where concerns particularly for the urban poor and migrants is seen, where food is contaminated or infectious or it is like undertreated, poor waste management and poor environmental sanitation. So everything, all these things lead to insufficient hygiene where improved nutritional status is completely lacking. Though the government has targeted schemes and programs for women and children, but still there is a challenge of poor nutrition to women and children because these are particularly the disadvantaged sections in our society, and the vulnerability increases by growing feminization of poverty and agriculture. And yes, this is the major challenge, that is identification of beneficiaries, where the statistics are not correct and there is significant inaccuracies in the removal and inclusion of households that are below poverty line. And then the next challenge is the concerns related to rising subsidy and financial burden. So there are concerns that have also been raised about the system's viability from a financial standpoint. So the Act's increased grain procurement, associated expenses, and other variables are expected to cause the food subsidy to expand steadily. Now let's see what could be the recommendations to ensure a proper food security in our country. So first would be educate farmers. Yes, by educating farmers, we can increase their awareness regarding agricultural and allied activities. Also, new scientific techniques that is available for them to learn that how cheaper prices can make their life easier so that their production also increases. And new and adequate means of soil testing that is now available in market. Also there should be efficient fertilizers use, and this is something that should be taught to our farmers, which can also increase the nutrient content in our crop, and which would further help in achieving not only food security but also nutrition security. And then there has to be some support for crop failure and risk management services should be there, so that there should be some expenditure and subsidies which should be made by the government so that this can lighten up the burden of farmers. in their risk management. And then another aspect would be expansion of the storage capacity of state food corporations. So not only just expansion, but also at the same time ensuring that there is no pilferage or there is no infestation from insects. Also avoiding the generation of buffer stocks that which would go wasted. And once again, the another important aspect would be the transportation system. So the efficient use of transportation means of transportation like railways, roadways, or waterways in order in just to increase the efficiency and on time delivery of commodities. And then ensuring that women and children are getting their adequate nutrition. And then we can strengthen the public distribution system, strengthening by decentralization, जिसकी वजह से जो एक steadiness आ जाता है हमारे distribution में वो उसे हम लोग cater कर पाएंगे. Also will having a longer supply chains. And then the number of fair price shops which are economically viable and well equipped, that shall be increased by each state rather than just providing license to the distributors. So yes, we have come to the end of our video, and the things that we have learned through this discussion is food security is when people are able to afford and secure sufficient quantities of nutritious food for their families. Also, food security in India is essential for poor, and food security is required in country because more than a quarter of Indian population is living below poverty line. So, after discussing this topic, let's see that how we can utilize this knowledge and how we can incorporate these points into our mains questions. Because in the first question itself, you can see it's directly given that National Food Security Act. So, by this, you can just make out what are the features and what are the drawbacks, whatever it is going to ask. But apart from that, the rest of the two questions, where it is asking the major challenges of public distribution system in India and how it can be effective and transparent. Also, what are the reformative steps taken by the government to make food grain distribution system more effective? So, more or less, both the questions are same, but these two are in two different years, and both are asking about how to make it effective and more transparent. So before we move on to this, let me tell you the question that I asked you in the beginning itself, and I hope you guys have commented. So the 16th of October is celebrated as World Food Day to commemorate the date of the founding of United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization in 1945. Now let's see the second question, where it says what are the major challenges of public distribution system in India, and how it can be made effective and transparent. So the rest of the things that you have to include about public distribution system, I'll tell you that how food security part that you have read just now can be included into this answer. So first, you will be writing what is public distribution system. So PDS is an Indian food security system established under Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. And then we'll link it to saying that with coming of the National Food Security Act, providing for the right to food as a legal entitlement by providing subsidy or subsidized food grains to nearly two-thirds of the population, PDS has expanded exponentially. So here you are giving a positive feedback that due to National Food Security Act, there has been a positive change or growth in public distribution system. So I hope you like our video, and please find the PDF on our website. We'll be uploading the PDF there. And thank you so much for your time and patience.